Street, Hudson Street, Manhattan Avenue, Appleby, Morris, Brooklyn. These are all much longer streets than what we submitted for last time.
Right.
A couple of these streets would probably be equivalent to the $1 million that we submitted for last year in last year's round. If we try to do all of these streets in the application, I mean, we could be looking at $2 or $3 million per application, which, you know, I don't think that's realistic to submit to the DOT. We've seen them kick back large applications before like that. I don't know if the council wants to try to get somewhere around that $1 million application similar to what we submitted last year. And if that's the case, you know, we could include Maiden Lane in this and a few of these other streets just to make sure we hit that $1 million threshold.
Well, I know Maiden Lane needs it. Okay, I've been down Manhattan, and Manhattan really needs it. You got Madison does need it.
Malay, would it be advantageous for maybe you to give us 2 or 3 scenarios, maybe one with just the longer streets that equal $1 million, and then if we could do 6 or 7 streets for $1 million with the other group, so we could decide if we want to do 3 longer roads or 6 shorter roads? Can you give us an idea of where we might fall?
Well, if PSE&G is willing to, because they're not doing the other streets, they're going to do MacArthur, Halsey, and the other streets, you can take them off the list.
Yes,
no, we're
from
talking about the
from that
new list.
section, Halsey Place is the only street that's on the current list.
Okay.
Right, so that brings this year's list down to 12 streets if we just get rid of Halsey. What I'm saying is, for $1 million, if we can get eight of the smaller streets done, or 4 of the longer streets, I'm not sure where we're at, and then we can kind of decide which way to go. I believe Manhattan and Maiden Lane are 2 streets that definitely should be done next year. They're horrendous.
Exactly. There are 2 streets that should be done.
Yes, out of the list of 12 that are, once you exclude Halsey, I think they're the 2 worst on this list.
Right.
You can also exclude Feldbaum because I don't think the DOT will award because it's a private street.
Correct. Feldbaum is a private road, so we wouldn't be able to include that.
All right.
Okay, so now we're down to 11.
So
I don't know.
I would say pick 2.
For.
Go ahead, Charles.
Excuse. I'm always for getting more area done. I know the residents on Valete and the other longer roads need it done as well, but when we have a list of 12 roads, if we can get that list down to 4 roads, next year we might only have 6 roads that we need to do, or 8. So,
But, Charlie,
I'd rather get.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jose.
Again, when I went down Valete. Valete is not as bad as Maiden, Manhattan.
No, right. I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. Like Maiden Lane and then
even Madison, okay, from Burlington to Rosedale, that also needs, because it's pretty bad shape too.
Well, I'm excluding myself from that whole conversation because that's the road I live on. So I'm going to exclude myself from any vote to do on that street. I'm not even bringing that one up. I'll abstain if that road's involved.
It's just the streets that I went down on, that I drove down, and again, the bad ones are Maiden, Manhattan, Madison, okay, and even George Street too.
Yes.
So why don't you pick 2 big streets and 4 small ones that cuts the list in half?
If Malay thinks that we can do that for $1 million, I think we got to leave it in his hands to say, okay, we could do 4 little ones and 1 big one, or 3 little ones and 1 big one, whatever the case may be. But like Malay said, I'd rather not say, okay, let's apply for $3 million and then to get shot back and not get anything, or get $500,000.
So one thing we could do is since the council wants to do Maiden and Manhattan, and it seems George Street and Madison, is we could take a look at those 4 streets first put together a cost estimate, see where we're at, and then based on that, see if there's any space to add any additional streets.
Sure. And
I think that's
we
a
could
good
do
idea.
this, and we could do this, we could vote on this at the next council meeting, Malay, without any problem. I think it's the 22nd.
No, I mean, just a verbal from the council, just to give us the okay to proceed. Waiting for the next council meeting, that's going to be roughly a week before the application due.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we just want to get started, so we're not cutting it
All
too
right.
close to the submittal deadline.
I would say go ahead with the two
Right.
big streets, the two smaller streets. Once you get your estimate together of what it would cost us to do it or cost it to be done, then, let the council know, and then if you can add streets, then we'll add.
All right.
All right, so the street that we're gonna do is Manhattan, Madison, Maiden, and what was the other one?
George.
George.
George. All right.
Okay.
Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah.
Poll the council?
Larry, like I said, I'm fine with that list. But once again, my street is on that list, so I'm going to abstain from that one of the 4 streets, just
Okay.
because I don't, because I live on that street. So
All right, John, what do you think?
Yeah.
Those 4 streets, he said yes.
Yeah.
Jose?
Yes.
Ted?
yep, there's the 4.
Okay, and I'm with those 4 also.
Okay. So then we'll proceed with those 4. We'll put together a cost estimate, and then we'll
Great.
see how much space we have left once we get the cost estimate for those 4 streets.
Super.
Okay.
All right. So then just going back to the project status report, for the 2020 local aid program, the borough received a $555,000 grant from the DOT, and we forwarded the borough a proposal outlining the scope of work. PSE&G is also now able to resume performing their service upgrades on their gas main upgrade work throughout the town. For the Cottage Streets area improvements, the contractor has remobilized and is working on the storm sewer improvements on Brookside Road, Red Bank Road, and Woodland Road. For the improvements to Brunswick Avenue and Karen Street drainage improvements, the contractor has completed installing the curbs, the water main relocation, and has actually completed connecting, as of today, the storm sewer system on Brunswick Avenue to the existing system on Snow Hill Street. So he has the handicap ramp at that intersection of Snow Hill Street, and then paving remaining. We were also in touch with the utility company about the utility poles. They said that they were delayed because of the recent storm and taking care of outages, but they will be out on site at some point this week to take a look at those poles and to have them kicked so the sidewalk can finish being connected through those areas. And then we are also still waiting on one more easement. I believe it was 110 Brunswick. And I think Larry was going through condemnation for that.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. We just had one holdout homeowner, and that's probably where we're going to have to go with that.
Okay. And then for the Karen Street drainage improvements, those improvements are complete except for the pavement striping. For the improvements to Adirondack Avenue, the borough received a $542,200 grant from the DOT for improvements to Adirondack Avenue from Hudson to Burlington, and we are working on the project design. And the borough attorney is also working on an easement acquisition for 350 Adirondack Avenue.
Yes, and that's actually that easement has been signed already. So I'm just waiting. I just have to record it, but the property owner is very cooperative.
All right, perfect. For the DeVoe Lake dredging, we're working on the project plans. We've also submitted the fees required for the New Jersey Fish and Wildlife and Freehold Soil Conservation District permits and certifications, and we will be forwarding the permits for signature. And for the George Street Water Treatment Plant, well number 4 proposed capacity increase, we're working with the project architect concerning various elements of the project, and the well driller began the 24-hour test this morning.
Anybody on council have any questions?
Malay, this is Charlie, excuse me, Malay. I do have one quick question going back to the road application. Manhattan Avenue. So when you come down Rosedale, is it both sides of Manhattan? If you were to make a left and a right to the cul-de-sac also, it's both?
Yeah, we weren't.
Both ends?
We were given just essentially the entire length of Manhattan Avenue.
Okay.
You know, if
I
the
just wanted to
council
make sure it
wants
was
to
both
shorten it,
sides.
we absolutely can. But I think last year we applied for only a portion or 2 blocks of it, if I remember correctly.
Right. Well, I know definitely if you come down Rosedale off of Adirondack and make a left on a Manhattan, that's the worst side.
Okay.
So that's the longest length. That definitely has to get done. I don't know if we need to do the other end also. So we just need to look into that to see if it's going to encompass the whole length of the road or just the one side, one portion.
Yeah,
just in case a resident wants to know, I want to be able to tell them, yes, in fact, it's the whole street, or no, it's only it's stopping at Rosedale. So we just got to keep that in mind too, please.
Hey, Charlie, instead of us just doing half and then going back to it, just get it all done. So like that, we don't have to worry about it and then go into.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
this way we're
agree
not
with you,
fixing
Jose. I
it
just
in
wanna
5
make sure
years.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's not missed on Malay's estimate that it's only one half, that it's the full length of the road.
Yeah, no, I have the full length as far as our scope would be.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, if there are no more questions for the engineer, thank you very much. At this point in time, before I start reading the ordinances, I'd like the mayor to talk. He has something he wants to say.
Thank you, Larry,
You're welcome.
our council president. In the recent weeks, we've been going back and forth over Kate Leedy's salary, and I want to make everybody aware that right now that she is waived, needing to be rice notice for what I'm about to say. According to USA Today, an article from the Wall Street Journal, the median salary requiring no college education for an executive secretary or an executive administrative assistant is around $57,410 annually, with about 5 years experience, which is pretty much covered at this point. I could go on to compare this to other jobs like postal mail sorter gets $57,260 to put mail in a box, or somebody hands steps for $58,500. But that's not the point here. The point is, Ms. Leedy does far more than administrative. Excuse me, let me slow down. Ms. Leedy does far more than an administrative assistant should. She never turns down an assignment out of her job description. Ms. Leedy has over 25 years of experience in a variety of jobs. Ms. Leedy is not in the union, so she is not afforded the step increases union members are, and her responsibility is equal to, if not greater than, those in the union. Being that the job of mayor is a part-time job in theory, I must rely heavily on day-to-day operations of my office be maintained and forwarded to me in a timely manner. For the past 13 months, she's had to deal with increased responsibility of her own job, as well as managing a new position and doing it quite well. She has earned the respect and the trust of her peers. The council has expressed concerns as to the amount of the proposed pay increase, as well as her ability and qualifications to perform the new position. And that is their right to do so. But since the questions have arisen, not one council member has reached out to Ms. Leedy in reference to this. They've all seen her resume, and they've had ample time to read it, as well as reach out with their concerns. To this date, neither her nor I have received any communique regarding the matter. I respectfully state to the council, do what you must, but stop putting it off, because it's not fair to her since you have not done this to any other employee. Now, you know I have no control over finances. I put forth what I think is right. If you don't think so, you need to make a decision. But please make a decision this evening. Thank you very much. Respectfully, Ed Seeley, Mayor.
Thank you, Ed. Okay. First ordinance, first reading, public hearing set for June 22nd, 2020. Ordinance 2020-9, an ordinance amending and supplementing the salary ordinance of the Borough of Spotswood entitled an amendment to the ordinance fixing and establishing the salaries and wages of certain employees of the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey. Ordinance on first reading, public hearing set for June 22nd, 2020. Bond ordinance 2020-10. Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements and the acquisition of various capital equipment, appropriating $100,137 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $527,000 in bonds and notes to finance a portion of the cost thereof, authorized in by the Borough of Spotswood in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey. Okay, I stand corrected. That's $1,137,000. Resolutions under consent agenda. 2020-82, the Borough Council of Spotswood, with advice and consent, authorize Mayor Seeley to appoint Kate Leedy as Human Resources Officer, a stipend for this position for 2019 in the amount of $2,000 effective January 1, 2020. 2020-83, the Borough Council of the Borough of Spotswood, with advice and consent, authorize Mayor Seeley to provide a salary increase of $10,000 for the administrative assistants to the mayor of the Borough of Spotswood and business administrator position, effective January 1, 2020. 2020-84, the Borough Council of the Borough of Spotswood, with advice and consent, authorize Mayor Seeley to appoint Kate Leedy as Human Resources Officer with a stipend for this position for 2020 in the amount of $8,000 effective January 1, 2020. 2020-86, the Borough Council authorized the Chief Financial Officer to pay the sum of $12,396.98 for tax sale certificate colon 18-00003 to DSHC Enterprises LLC, being all taxes, interest, and costs due to them. 2020-87, Borough Council authorized that change order 1 and pay estimate number 2 in the amount of $324,848.88 for the aforesaid work is hereby approved. The Mayor and Borough Council authorized that the appropriate officials to execute Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security CARES Act and submit to the county for review and distribution of funds. 2020-89, the Mayor and the Borough Council hereby authorize temporary outdoor dining for food and beverage establishments affected by COVID-19 for a period up to 120 days unless a longer or shorter time is established by an executive order issued by the Governor. 2020-90, Borough Council authorized Mayor Seeley to execute a contract with the Borough of Spotswood's International Association of EMTs and Paramedics, Local R2-215, for the years January 1, 2019 to December 31, 2022. 2020-91, the municipal clerk is hereinafter authorized to prepare advertisements for the purpose of bids for the demolition of property known as Block 107, Lots 16 and 17, 474 Main Street in the Borough of Spotswood. 2020-92, the governing body of the Borough of Spotswood authorize and direct the tax collector to prepare and issue estimated tax bills for the municipality for the third installment of 2020 taxes. And then 2020-93, payment of bills. Anybody wish to discuss?
Yes, Ted. I heard what the mayor said, and while I don't disagree with his assessment of Kate's abilities, I know that she is capable of doing everything he said she can do. I think the optics of taking someone and doubling their salary right now, given our situation, is not an advisable thing. I've made my proposal to you, Larry, of what we should do. I respectfully disagree with the mayor. I don't think it's up to each individual council member to talk to her. I think that sets a bad example, because what I might say is not what you might say. The mayor should be the one to offer her the salary guideline. I think rather than continue this going on, we need to pull the salary ordinance off until this gets settled, and then also pull the salary resolutions 82, 83, and 84 off tonight, because it's not going to end well.
So you're talking about pulling all of the, which ones are you talking about pulling? 2020-82, 2020-83, and 2020-84, and what's the other one?
Right. And also the salary ordinance 2020.9, because the positions are listed in there also. And the numbers that I've offered as a compromise are not in that range.
Councilman Ricky,
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry,
I'm
Charlie.
sorry. That's right, Larry. I have a question. If we pull that ordinance about the salaries, the range of salaries, what does that do for our budget? Don't we need to pass that in a timely manner, don't we, in order to get our budget and everything straightened out?
Well, yeah. I'm sorry, Dawn, maybe you should answer that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The salary ordinance only establishes the range. It doesn't authorize any increases to any employee. However, what it will hold up is it'll hold up the raises for all the other non-union employees, because once the ordinance is adopted, the next step is to do the salary resolution, which authorizes those raises. So you're essentially not doing anything by passing the ordinance until a salary resolution goes on the agenda.
If we pass this resolution and the range of salary goes down from the low number, is that an issue?
No, as long as it fits within the range.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is that the numbers I'm proposing would be less than the range that we have now for human resources. So unless we pull the human resources administrative assistant portion of it out and pass the rest of it.
You could do that. I can tell you the ordinance will be put on the agenda again, hopefully at some point this year, because if you notice, the ordinance doesn't address UFCW, and that's because their contract is still under negotiation.
Larry,
So
what do you think? Do we take those two things out of the salary ordinance for tonight and address them separately later?
Well, Dawn, I think you said we could do that, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, because all you're doing tonight is first reading on this ordinance anyway. But if you want to amend 2020-9 to take out those two exceptions to the salary ordinance, you could adopt this on first reading, and then obviously it'll be heard again on June 22nd. And at some later date, you'll have to deal with those other two positions. And and certainly, Ted, I guess you're saying that you would also like to remove 2020, 82, 83, and 84. So I guess
yes.
All right. So
I think it's a disservice. I think it's a disservice to put it up for a vote and have it knocked down. I think we should just address this thing, get it over with, and do it the right way, and then come back, and we know that everything's going to be settled on.
All right. Well, that's up to the council. So I mean, if Ted, you want to make that motion, and it's seconded.
I do. I make a motion. We remove 82, 83, 84, and then we amend the salary ordinance 2020-9 to remove the two items reflecting the position, and we bring them back in on the next meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
That was Charlie. Okay. Alyssa, why don't you call the roll so we can move forward.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Spacuzzo?
Yes.
Council President Kramer?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, that's one last issue. Those issues will not be dealt with during the regular meeting then.
All right, so now my question is, how do we resolve these issues? Larry, maybe you can give us some insight on it?
You're talking about the salary, you're talking about the 3 resolutions you pulled and the HR position in the salary ordinance.
Yeah, because
yeah.
we've been doing this every meeting. Let's figure out a way to get through this. This has got to be the 3rd or 4th time that it's been pulled.
All right.
And
there's
no end to the, there's no end to it. So we have to figure out a way to end it.
I think there needs to be a discussion between council and the mayor, and perhaps I should get involved in that discussion as well. And hopefully by the next council meeting or at a future council meeting, you'll be able to resolve this issue once and for all.
You
And
go for a closed session, a special closed session for this?
We could do it at well, I don't think we could do it this evening because we didn't notice for it for tonight, but you could certainly put it on.
No, not tonight, but you
Yeah,
can.
you can put it on as a closed session item for June 22nd, or there can be some discussion between now and June 22nd. And
Next week, so I think we can have it for the next council meeting.
Yep. Yeah.
So if I may, this is Charlie. If I may, Larry Kramer, I think what should happen is I think that you should individually talk to each one of the members of council, each one of us.
Okay.
And get everyone's opinion, and then you can go from there instead of playing a telephone game. If you speak to every one of us, even if you have an idea of what to do, whatever the case may be, you present something to us, and then we can give you feedback on it. And then once that, I'll call it a semi-negotiation between the 5 of us, and then you can go back and present it and put it on. So we're all on the same level of what we think we could do at this point in time.
Okay.
And I would also suggest, Councilman Kramer and Councilman Spicuzzo, that if for some reason this can be resolved before the meeting of the 22nd, we won't need to have a closed session. Certainly if there's a consensus or as close to a consensus as possible, that should really occur within the next 2 weeks.
Right. And that's what my point. So then hopefully for the next meeting, we can actually just have it as a agenda item, and we can vote on it and be done with it.
Agreed.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Sure, go ahead.
Council, I want to say something about this 2009. It says in there certain employees, wages. I mean, what does that mean? It's common sense. I mean, it says certain employees. I mean, it's funny. I mean, it's real. It's right there.
No, I understand that. I'm
Larry Sachs, I want to talk to you. Come on. Throw everything at me. Come on.
That's just the title of the ordinance, but the ordinance is fairly comprehensive. It addresses a variety of positions in the administration, clerk's office, financial, land use, municipal court, office of aging, public safety, public work. It basically addresses everybody. So,
well, here's what I mean. This doesn't stop anybody else. It doesn't stop anybody else.
No, this salary ordinance pertains to all positions.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Mr. Melillo, what I believe they're taking out is just the HR.
Correct.
Part of that 2020-9 and pushing that to the side and then just approving the rest of it. And then we'll have discussions on the others.
Very good. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I just want to say something. That's all.
So does anybody else have anything to say before we open it to the public? All right, so let's open it to the public.
Who's making a motion and who's going to second it?
Oh. I make a motion to open it to the public.
Second.
I'll second.
Everybody seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, it's Diane Charlesworth from 29 Old Stage Road. How's
Hello,
everybody
Diane.
doing tonight?
We're good, and you?
I'm not bad for an old broad.
Hey, how old are you?
Well, I'm pretty old.
29,
Yeah,
right,
baby,
Diane?
that's it.
29.
Again. Anyway,
Yeah, again.
all the talk about repaving roads and all that kind of stuff earlier. I remember several meetings ago when I was told that Old Stage Road was going to be paved from Cleveland to Summerhill Road, and that sort of has disappeared from the conversation. So I'm wondering when that's going to happen.
Is our township engineer still here? Because he would know that.
Still here.
Yeah.
So I believe we were coordinating with PSE&G and the county to have that done.
Right.
I know Bruce has been working on that specifically. I'm not too familiar as far as where that stands. But as far as I know, that is still going to happen. It's just a matter of coordinating with those two parties.
Is it going to be before the next snow flies?
I believe so.
Huh. Okay. Can I cast that in stone?
That depends on what
Probably
kind of
not.
stone it is.
Maybe in macadam.
Or here. Okay.
But that is still in the
leads
works.
me to my next question, Larry.
Yes.
And I'm might not. It might have to go for the next meeting, but whatever happened with the idea of buying a hot paving machine?
As soon as the budget, it's already been approved. I actually have a listing of it here, and that should be pretty soon.
Larry, it's actually in our bond ordinance that we're voting on tonight.
Right.
Yay! Okay.
Yeah, I knew it was in there somewhere. I just couldn't get through all the paperwork.
All right. Cool.
All right.
Old Stage is in there too.
Old Stage.
Old Stage
where,
is in there
Jose?
too? Yeah. In the bond ordinance.
Okay. All right. Great. Super. Thanks so much, guys.
You're welcome.
We're doing it. We're doing it in spots where they're doing it. A little at a time. They're taking it, They crawl. They crawl. They crawl. They get it done.
Anything else, Diane?
Nope. I'm good, darling. Thanks.
All right. You have a good night.
Well, I'm still here, but I'm.
I know, but I mean, we have to go on to the next person.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Whoever's next. Catherine is her name.
Hi, it's Kate Leedy, the administrative assistant to the mayor and the business administrator. And at this point, the acting human resources officer that really doesn't exist. I don't understand. I truly don't understand, and I am hoping that the council can explain to me exactly why this has taken so long, exactly why the work that I have done for the borough so far, the work that I continue to do for the borough at this point, is being essentially, to my way of thinking, is not being respected, and in a very large way is kind of being discounted. And I don't understand how that happens. And I don't understand how we got to where we are at this point in the year when this has been going on for almost a year. I'm hoping that somebody can explain that to me.
Somebody want to pick that up? Nobody
Councilman
wants to,
Kramer, it's Larry Sachs. Maybe I can just respond.
Go ahead.
And Kate, I don't really want to talk about personnel issues because it really wouldn't be the proper forum to talk about that this evening. But suffice it to say, I think, we just have to work out, or the council has to work out the devil of the details in terms of how they want to handle this position and compensation. I don't think, and again, I'm probably speaking for the council, I don't think it reflects adversely on any concerns about your work performance or anything else. And I think the mayor's comments at the beginning of the meeting were proper comments. But I don't think we want to get into personnel issues. I think Councilman Ritchie mentioned that he'd like to go over the details of this, and I think what's going to happen between now and the 22nd is hopefully there'll be a resolution of this issue.
Okay, and this has been going on for months.
We understand that, and I think unfortunately the COVID-19 pandemic cast its ugly shadow on everybody, and it's difficult. It's difficult to have these meetings virtually. It's difficult not to see everybody. It's difficult not even to meet with people in the municipal building, which I know all of us have not had the capabilities of doing until I think just recently. I think the municipal building opened up this week, at least for many employees. But that's all I can really say at this point. I think the COVID-19 timing has not been favorable for anybody, and I'm sure this will get worked out.
But other business of the borough has certainly continued to move forward during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Certainly bills have to get paid, and certain things do have to go forward. I can tell you that there are a lot of things that that have not been taken care of. We don't have, for instance, I'm not sure we're at full speed in municipal court. I'm not sure that we're at full speed with planning and zoning boards. So, unfortunately, everything's been somewhat impacted. But I think you heard from the council that this is something that should be worked out over the next 2 weeks, and hopefully it'll be on the agenda, or there'll be a closed session to discuss it at the next council meeting.
So,
Kate, this is Charlie. Kate, I need to speak up and just say a couple of quick things. One, this has no reflection on your performance. I think you do a great job. And I think you're good in that position. My concern with the whole thing, Kate, is a monetary issue because of COVID and everything like that. I don't feel it's appropriate to be giving raises out at this time. Not to say that there won't be any raises given out or you won't be getting a raise. At this time, I think this is a large number that we have to sit down and really discuss to make sure that this is what the town can afford at this time. But like I said, it has no reflection on your abilities or what you do and what you've done for us in the past. I just needed to get that off my chest.
well, I appreciate that. But again, I'm continuing to do a job that I am, in effect, not being compensated for at this point. And I've been doing it for months. And this predates the COVID-19 situation.
All right.
I don't think the resolution.
Council President.
It's Larry. Yeah, I don't think the
People trying to talk at once.
Go
Can you
ahead.
hear me?
Go ahead. Talk.
Okay, I don't think
Can
the
you hear me?
resolutions. Yeah, let me just finish. I don't think the resolutions really were put on the agenda until we stopped having in-person meetings. They all, at least from my recollection, because I was responsible for preparing the resolutions, it all occurred after the pandemic struck. But your point is well taken, Kate, and hopefully this will get resolved.
This is Ted. I just want to say something. Kate, whatever the offer gets presented, it recognizes everything you've done this year and last year, and it will address you in both of those. So you're not going to lose anything for the work you've done. You'll be compensated for everything this year and all of the extra work that you did last year in the proposal that I'm trying to put together. And just like Charlie said, right now with everything that's going on, the numbers that are in there just don't work out right now.
So we'll leave it in the closet.
That is apparently
The bottom line is that we need to just have a closed session, okay, next week, and which.
Oh, and by the way, if Mary Kate McDonald is listening tonight, I want to thank you for standing up for me at the last meeting. I appreciated that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Jose, either if we don't resolve, if it doesn't get resolved during the next 2 weeks, excuse me.
Closed session.
Yeah, we'll do it in a closed session. I agree.
Okay, instead of going back and forth and one individual after one individual, just closed session. We're all there,
Yep.
and we can all discuss it all at once and get it over with.
That's fine.
Instead of going, calling one person and then calling another person. No, it's just closed session, and we go, right there and then we could go back and forth.
Make a motion, closed session.
Well, no, we're not making a motion.
We're not there yet,
closed
John.
session now.
Well, yeah.
All right,
Whatever it
I'm
is.
gonna-
let's bring our next person in.
Hi, this is Lara Krefsky, 29 Rainbow Lane. I just want to make sure I understand what you guys were saying about the paving in the beginning. So did you guys say that Carroll Lane, Bryan Lane, and Rainbow Lane were going to be paved next year instead of this year?
Is our engineer still on?
Yeah, still here.
Yeah,
No,
Malay, can you?
those roads are scheduled for the current 2020 NJDOT application.
Okay.
As long as we get authorization from the town and we have adequate time to do the design, we're looking to try to get that done this year. We're not looking to try to extend that to next year.
Okay, great.
But it's just going to be a matter of getting authorization, getting the design done and down to the DOT and approved, and then getting it out to bid.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, Jackie.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you guys are
Hi,
having.
Jackie.
Jackie Palmer.
Forgive me if I had a wisdom tooth removed today. So believe it or not, my lip is still numb from 9 o'clock this morning.
Wow.
I'm going to go through a number of the questions that I have. I was not going to address anything on 2023, but given the fact that you guys are going to have some discussion individually, I wanted to propose some of the questions that I had just to give some, I guess some color as to what, as a, a resident, I would be asking, or even as honestly as an HR person, what I would be asking. So I'm going to run down my list because I feel like I don't want to take up all the time. I'd rather dump them all out and let you guys comment on what I have. So my first question is on 2020-90. I'm curious as to why the EMS contract was not ratified by council when it was signed 9 months ago. It seems like, and now that I listened, apparently the contract goes back to January 1st, 2019. So we're talking 8 months at this point. Obviously, it took 9 months to negotiate the contract, but it sounds to me there's been another 9 months and something happened in which the contract was signed in September but did not get ratified by council. I'm just curious where the missing link was for that. My next question is regarding the bill list. As usual, 2020-93, specifically Bill 20-00741, which is the labor attorney bill, and the dates are listed in it. Still curious as to why the labor attorney is working without an updated resolution, extending his time with us. Why specifically a labor attorney who writes contracts and reviews contracts and does labor work would not have himself, ensure that he's contracted for work through the time that he's providing services. Based upon 2020-83, thank you, Mayor Seeley, for answering a few of the questions that I did have specific to the union position and your reasoning behind the increases. The questions that I have on that, I think that would be good for you guys to discuss in your of yourselves. One, and for me, what is the current salary of the administrative assistant? Is there a current employment contract or agreement for this position, and what does that say? What is the typical raise for any of our union or contractual employees? Is it a percentage? Is it a flat fee? How did we come up with this flat fixed dollar amount as opposed to a percentage of the salary? Typically, I know when we look at union contracts and any kind of contracts within any, Mayor Sealy, you alluded to the amount of money that administrative assistant, which is likely a collective total amount based upon not just public sector, but also private sector, which they're apples and oranges, honestly. But again, how did we come up with a flat fee as opposed to a percentage? And this is a 23%. I'm only talking about the salary increase. I'm not talking about the HR functionality. So the $10,000 is actually a 23% increase. Is this position eligible for overtime? It seems that the HR responsibilities are quite extensive that add to an already full-time administrative assistant position. So are these additional responsibilities, or have they been, since Ms. Lady had said that she is providing this service, have they been causing overtime and costing us an additional funding for overtime? And then my final question is, how are you guys handling closed session meeting today at the end of the meeting? Will you be going into a different Zoom meeting and leaving us all here, and then coming back and opening up the Zoom meeting to tell us, you know, that you've taken no action and close out the meeting like it's supposed to go, or how's that going to happen?
Actually, I'll answer that. That's the easy one. The answer to that is yes.
Okay.
We have a, yeah, okay. And I guess as to the other three questions, I mean, I can answer the one with respect to the labor attorney situation. I think I've indicated, you know, since the end of March, it's essentially a holdover position. Jackie, I think at the last meeting I told you that there was a discussion between myself and the mayor that he wanted to re-advertise for this position for the RFQ. And just today, I did receive a draft form of the RFQ, which will get posted, I guess, in the Home News Tribune. And I believe by the end of June, there would be the deadline date to submit those RFQs for that position. And I think I also mentioned at the last meeting that what I would be doing would be notifying the three law firms that did put in under the earlier RFQ, and obviously notifying our current labor attorney about this RFQ, because apparently Cleary's firm was never notified that a new RFQ was being posted back in March. So that I think deals with that issue. I know that there's a bill on the bill list tonight for the law firm. I'm sure there may be some discussion about that bill when we get to that point. And I think I also indicated to the council at the last council meeting that I wanted to review the bill of the labor attorney from that was on the last bill list. I do have a copy of that bill. I just received it, and I will be reviewing that as well. So I think that's all I can answer for you, Jackie. And
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. As always, it's wonderful to have a discussion with just you on these meetings.
Insulting.
My comment though, in regards to the, I have to go back to the labor attorney issue, and I can almost guarantee you with 100% certainty that those law firms are probably not going to be happy because this is handled inappropriately. And again, on last meeting, recorded on the meeting, the mayor was crystal clear that he had no intention of hiring those three. So that then becomes an issue.
No, I don't.
Just want to remind everybody, regardless of how you feel about it, Mr. Sachs, it is from a legal perspective, it's wrong. And that's you can't bid rig.
No, there's no bid rigging. I'm going to tell you that all three of those law firms who submitted will certainly have an opportunity to resubmit, and they'll be reviewed. I'll honestly, I didn't even review the 3 RFQs because everything that was going on with COVID. I didn't see them until well after the deadline period had expired. So, that certainly we're dealing with extraordinary times, extraordinary circumstances. Now that things are opening up, hopefully we'll get back to life as normal. But I know that the RFQ is going to be reposted. So
no, I understand that it is. What I'm saying to you is that the mayor already said who he's choosing.
Well,
that
I
person
don't recall.
was not. We could argue that, but I could pull up the recording, and that is what was said. So if I were one of those attorneys, I'd have a big issue with the fact that you are even putting out another. It was handled inappropriately. What should have been said was that we do not agree with these 3 applicants, and we are going to propose a new RFP because we're throwing all of them out.
Well, I think that's what I think your interpretation might be a little bit different than the interpretation of the administration. So,
they may be, but it likely will be the interpretation of those attorneys as well, is what I'm saying.
All right. I'm not concerned about the interpretation of law firms that are looking to do business with the town.
Well, I am, because we have enough lawsuits. We have enough
I don't
in
think
our
we
borough at this point in time, and I don't think that we need attorneys coming after us as well.
I don't think we have to worry about attorneys. Excuse me. I don't think we need to worry about attorneys coming after us on an RFQ that hasn't been determined yet. So in any event, I think we can move on. So
my other 2 questions, maybe Larry, Mr. Kramer, you can answer about the EMS contract.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't involved in any of that, and I didn't even know that there was a contract for them. I apologize for not knowing that, but like I said, I was never involved in the negotiations of it. That was before my time it started, and it was never turned over to me, so I don't know. I really couldn't answer your question, Jackie.
Dawn might be able to give you some insight onto that.
Charlie, actually, because Dawn wasn't here when that contract was signed. I believe she was out on leave, so she wouldn't be the appropriate one to answer. But Charlie, I believe, right, it was stated in that in the resolution that Charlie had agreed to it. So I'm just curious as to what happened.
The EMS contract, Jackie?
Yeah. My question, Charlie, was just why it's taken 9 months to get onto the agenda after you guys signed it back in September. Like, what was the holdup?
I honestly don't know. Dawn or Mr. Mayor, would you happen to know why this was held up so long to put on the agenda?
I was just waiting to get in there. Hello, Jackie.
Hello, Mr. Steele.
The contract was not signed very long ago. As a matter of fact, I signed the contract last week. The contract was sitting with the union and didn't get back to us till last week. The MO, I believe the MOA, I believe that was signed a while ago. But I know the contract wasn't, because I know I signed it last week. As for why it took so long, I had the very same question to the union as to why I don't have the contract yet, and I had it the very next day. So I'd like to do like everybody else and blame it on COVID, but I don't know what happened.
Okay, well, Mike, then perhaps we should update the resolution, because I wouldn't have known that information. What I read was, in the resolution, it says, whereas the MOA was signed on September 3rd, 2019 by Mayor and Council President and the International Association of EMTs and Paramedics, however, was never ratified by Council. That was why I was questioning it. So if you had not signed it since last week, then that resolution should be updated.
I had not signed the contract. I did sign the MOA.
Okay, but we never ratified the MOA with the council.
Correct.
That is correct.
And we don't know why that is. Okay, thank you.
Jackie.
Yes, sir.
Your other questions?
Yes,
sir. You had asked, could you email them to me so I can give you the right answers?
Certainly.
I would appreciate it. Thank you.
That's it for me. Thank you, guys.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Jackie, thank you. All right, so I'd like to make a motion to close it to the public, close the
Second.
public portion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Make a motion to adjourn?
Okay.
Second.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second, yes, everybody.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. A couple minutes. Give me 2 minutes and we'll start the next meeting. Okay, this special meeting was called for Monday, June 8th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. at Borough Hall, located at 77 Summerhill Road, Spotswood, New Jersey. Pursuant to the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-8B, this meeting will be held by means of the use of electronic communications equipment. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, no members of the public shall be permitted to physically attend the meeting. The public, however, is invited to attend the meeting electronically. This special meeting was advertised on the Spotswood website and in the Home News Tribune. Make a call to order, and we'll salute the flag and have a moment of silence for all of the COVID-19 victims, all EMS, police, fire, and emergency services that keep us going. Yeah, call roll first.
Councilman Ritchie?
Here.
Councilman Rivera? Did you hear him? Councilman Rivera? He's
I
muted.
think he's on mute.
Yeah, he's on mute.
Jose, are you on? He's off now. Okay.
I'm here.
Councilman Rivera?
Okay.
Here.
Okay. Councilman Malillo?
Here.
Councilman Spacuzzo?
Here.
Council President Kramer?
Here.
Mayor Sealy?
Here.
All right, so let's salute the flag and then have a moment of silence for all those people. I pledge allegiance to the flag
United
of
States.
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for a moment.
Okay. Larry Sachs, can you just reiterate what you were talking about with Ordinance 2029? Am I passing it on first reading but excluding certain items?
You're excluding the human resources officer, and I think there was one other, Ted, right? Hold on, let me just double check.
The human resources and the administrative secretary, since we have to vote on those.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, so we have an ordinance on first reading, 2020-9. Public hearing is set for June 22nd, 2020. An ordinance amending and supplementing the salary ordinance of the Borough of Spotswood, entitled An Amendment to an Ordinance Fixing and Establishing the Salaries and Wages of Certain Employees of the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, but excluding the Human Resource Officer and Administrative Secretary.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion, we pass the resolution as amended, or the ordinance as amended.
Okay,
Is
who
there a
wants to
second?
second it?
Second.
Second by Councilman Spacuzzo. Okay.
Okay, Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes, yes.
Councilman Spacuzzo?
Yes.
Council President Kramer.
Yes.
We have another ordinance, bond ordinance 2020-10 on first reading. Public hearing is set for June 22nd, 2020. Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements and the acquisition of various capital equipment, appropriating $1,137,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $527 bonds and notes to finance a portion of the cost thereof authorized in and by the Borough of Spotswood in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey.
Make a motion we pass this ordinance on first reading, set a public hearing for June 22nd, 2020.
Second it.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Spacuzzo?
Yes.
Council President Kramer?
Yes.
Okay. Council President, council members, I'll take a motion to accept the resolutions on the consent agenda. Resolutions 2020-86 through 2020-93. Resolutions 2020-82 through 84 were pulled.
Make a motion.
Make a motion.
Resolution.
Second.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes, except on the bill list, I want vote no on the labor attorney's bill.
Well, actually, we're going to have to amend that motion then.
We do this.
So, yeah, let's, all right. So,
Okay,
if you want,
what bill item is it?
20
The number?
Okay, it will be 20-00741.
Okay, so then we'll just take a vote on that separately then?
yes,
Larry?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so,
So Larry, we need to make a new motion, correct, Larry?
Yeah, it's a new motion. It
So,
would be, right, 20,
Yeah,
86 through 93 with the exception of bill number, hold on. I have it.
20-00741.
Correct. Charlie, you're making that
Okay.
motion?
Yes, I'll make that motion. Move resolutions 2020-86 through 2020-93, excluding, I'm sorry, the bill number that you had just said.
20-00741.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
who's gonna second it?
We need a second to my motion, guys.
Yes.
Second.
What was that?
10 seconds.
Okay. So seconded by Councilman Ritchie. All right.
Okay, Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Councilman Spacuzzo?
Yes.
Council President Kramer?
Yes.
Okay.
I-
Then we'll-
I'd like to make a motion to move that bill. Larry Sachs, I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to write down the whole number as you were saying it, and I don't have my bill list up, so can you remind me the number?
Yes, I'll
20.
do that. Yeah, it's 20-00741. The bill is dated June 4th of 2020. The law firm of Cleary, Jacoby, Alfieri, and Jacobs for professional services from April 22nd to May 20th in the amount of $5,725.50.
So I make a motion to move Bill 20-00741.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Councilman Ritchie, all right.
Okay, Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yeah.
Councilman
Come
Rivera?
on, who cares?
No?
You got to pay it anyway.
Okay, so Councilman Rivera, you just said no?
Yep.
Okay, Councilman Spacuzzo?
Yes.
Council President Kramer?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That deals with the resolutions. Alyssa, you can move to comments, I guess.
Well, if anyone on council wants to make any discussion or comments first, and then we could do the public.
Well, I voted yes to pay the bill because, again, like Ms. Palmer noted earlier, we don't need another lawsuit. And whether they were contracted by the council or not, they were used, and they have to be paid. And that's just my opinion. Anyone else?
I have nothing at this time, Larry. Thank you.
John, you
Larry,
got any report? Yeah.
I just want to extend a thanks to Donna over at the Senior Center for the Senior for Senior video that she did with the folks over in the Senior Center for the graduating students at our high school, seeing how they got beat up this year with proms and graduations and everything. I think she did an outstanding job.
That's excellent. I didn't get a chance to see it, but
very good, very good.
I'm glad it went. I'm glad it happened.
Councilman Kramer, Larry Sachs. I just want to give kudos to our zoning officer, Andy Mashansky, and also to Dawn because of the expeditious manner that they jumped on this issue of permitting outdoor dining for food and beverage operations. I know that as soon as that executive order came out, there was some consultation with me and some input from Mr. Mashansky, and I think the resolution that you approved tonight, 2020-89, will certainly help these businesses move forward so that they can serve food and beverages outside, and I think it's a great thing for the municipality. So.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. A lot of businesses in our town have been hit hard because of this, and if we can, help get a little life back in the town, I think it was a great idea.
I second that. That's good.
Anybody else? Okay, Alyssa.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to open the public.
I'll second it. Or I'll make the motion to open it to the public.
I'm not making a motion.
Second.
It's one of those moments.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi, it's Diane Charlesworth, 29 Old Stage Road again.
Hello, Diane.
Like a bad penny, I just keep popping up,
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious as to when the election packets will be available.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's. I know it all has to be in by August. I think the end of August. I think it has to be in by the end of August, so it should be coming out pretty soon.
We don't have an anticipated date.
Alyssa, can you answer that?
We're trying to find out now.
Pat, so that she can answer it.
Okay.
And Pat's there.
Hi, this is Pat.
Hi, Pat.
Hi, how are you? I worked on the packages while I was at home. I collated them today, and I have to put them in the newspaper, and I'm hoping by Monday that anybody can make an appointment with me to pick them up.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, Diane, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess that's Jose too.
I'm offended by that.
Well, it doesn't say your name on there. It says Jose, so.
Then he should buy me my own laptop. Anyway,
You heard that, Jose.
Dulce Branco Rivera, 46 Herbert. I have more statements than questions. Since you pulled all of those HR things. You do not need to answer it, but maybe you can all discuss it amongst yourselves. I was very curious as to the way the two HR positions were posted. The descriptions were identical, although in previous meetings, the way you have explained the one for domestic violence, it's sort of like this, just sort of name a person to be there just in case, but rarely ever used. So the fact that the two descriptions were the same didn't seem to make sense to me. It also didn't make any sort of sense to me that the person who was sort of the person just to be named just in case something happens with domestic violence is getting so much more money than the HR person who is for the borough, who would be, I would imagine, much busier than the domestic violence person. So it just didn't correlate. Made no
Yeah.
sense. That really needs to you need to look at that again.
Yeah, let me just respond to that because I think I mentioned, I don't think it was the meeting, last meeting, but the meeting before. That was some miscommunication on my part. So anyway, I think we corrected it and we understand what the position of the HR will be all encompassing. It's not just to handle domestic violence issues or domestic issues though. But that was some miscommunication, which I think I apologize for. I don't even know what council meeting it was. I'm losing track here with all these virtual meetings, but that was a few weeks ago. So.
Well, then you need to go back to the drawing board and start all over again. As far as the HR position itself, I am again going to object to the fact that we are taking a job that belongs to somebody else, making it its own position, and not that I have any issues with having an HR person. I just don't like the fact that we are removing a large portion of one person's job, creating a position for it, attaching a money stipend to it, and then not doing something with the job that it is. It is the BA's job to be the HR person. So then either let the BA be the HR person and you all learn to manage your employees and reprimand when you need to reprimand and supervise when you need to supervise, or take the HR position out of that job and then make the appropriate adjustment, because that is what you do in a regular business. And running the borough is a business. It's not play. It's not, favoritism. It's supposed to be a business. So if you're going to split a job, then you split the salary. That's the way it works. I and several other people, very long time ago, stated that the borough didn't need a full-time BA, that we could do with a part-time BA. So maybe this is when you do it. Make it a part-time BA to handle the resolutions, the finance, the whatever they handle, because honestly, I don't know what they do, but let them do that part. And then you have another person who would handle the HR person and maybe the administrative stuff. Then you have two separate people, and those two people make up one salary, and you save yourself some money. And finally, as far as the $8,000 increase goes, and I'm again just going to go back to the way things are done in business. If you get hired in at a lower salary, then you get hired in at a lower salary. It's what you negotiated when you got the job. After that, you get increases, and increases, whether you're union or not union, should all be in line. One person should not get this humongous percentage and everybody else gets a smaller percentage when everybody's doing a really great job. And it's not about the person who's in the job. It's about what is fair, what is right, and what is equitable. It's as simple as that. And especially in this environment, with the amount of unemployment that is out there, I don't think it's time to be attaching such a large increase and putting that on the back of the taxpayers, many of us which are out of work. It's just not right. It is not done in the business world. It should not be done here. It just shouldn't. That is my piece. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hello, guys. Jackie Palmer, 9 Chupin Street again. I'd like to make a recommendation regarding the labor attorney issue. Can we make a resolution extending the current labor attorney through July 31st until the new proposal is sent out or whatever it is you're going to do? Because again, what bothers me the most is that you guys keep saying, well, we have to have one. Well, you've put in all kinds of resolutions on the agenda, and I said it last meeting, and I'm going to say it again. Why don't we put in a resolution tagging on to the one that you made it to end on March 30th, extending it, because obviously we retroactively do everything, and it's not good anyway. So retroactively to March, April 1st, till whatever the date is that the new, proposals are going to go out or expected back or a decision is expected to be made, so that there is no type of, to your point that you made, Mr. Kramer, that, you don't want any additional issues because they're working outside of a contract.
I believe that's doable, Larry.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a point well taken, and I'm sure we could probably, Councilman Kramer, if you want to put that on the agenda for the next council meeting, I'm sure we could do that, because I'm not sure that we're going to have a determination made probably until sometime in July, if the RFQ date is going to be the end of June. So if that's the pleasure of the council, I can certainly do that.
I believe that's something that we should do because, again, I was on the council when it was supposed to end the end of March, and that never happened. So
yep.
I think we should do that, extend it until we get the new RFQs in, and then make a decision then.
Okay. Well, we'll put it on for the next council meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Jackie. That was a good suggestion. Anything else? No? Is there somebody else there?
No. I'll close the
All right.
public.
Yep.
Make a motion to close the public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, so Alyssa, are we going to go into closed session now?
Yeah, we're going to go into closed session.
All right, so I think
Okay,
everybody.
let me read the
Go
closed
ahead.
session resolution
Yeah.
first. Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore be it resolved by the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey as follows. The public shall be excluded from discussion of any action upon the hereinafter specified subject matters. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows: litigation, attorney-client privilege. It is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter shall be made public when confidentiality is no longer required. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
All right, so I think we should probably just, if someone on council wants to make a motion, right, the motion to go into closed session.
Make a motion to close the go into closed session.
Second.
All right, so that was Councilman Spacuzzo and Councilman Malillo, second. Roll call.
Okay, Councilman Ritchie,
Yes.
Councilman Rivera,
Yes.
Councilman Malillo,
Yes.
Councilman Spacuzzo,
Yes.
Council President Kramer.
Yes.
All right, so council people, if you can leave this link, this Zoom meeting, and you'll go into the special meeting for the closed session. I think you have that meeting ID number and password information. And then Alyssa will come back to this meeting once we're concluded, right?
Yes.
Okay, so everybody needs to leave now. The council and mayor, and then
my tech guy do that.
Yeah, and then log into the Zoom. All right. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, we'll see you in the other meeting.
Charlie, are you on? I can't hear nothing.
Yes, I'm on, Larry.
Okay, Charlie. So since this is only like the second closed meeting I've ever done, I will refer to you for a little guidance on this.
Okay.
So what do we do? Do I just open it to the public?
Yes.
Because we've done all the discussing we're going to do.
Is Larry Sachs on? Oh, I just seen him pop up. So we'll just refer to Larry because.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Larry.
Okay, yeah, I can respond to it. I mean, basically, you know, well, let's start the meeting and I'll respond. Not a problem.
I don't have to read the notice again? Okay, good.
Make a motion, we close the close, reopen the open.
Yeah, there's a motion to.
Right.
Okay, so will somebody make a motion to close the closed and open the open?
Make a motion, we close the closed session, reopen the open meeting.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Councilman Kramer, you can open up to the public if you'd like.
Okay, let's open to the public. Make a motion to open it to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Hold on.
It's Jackie Palmer. Do you guys want to tell us what happened? Did you make a decision? Did you not make a decision? Did you have a discussion? You open to the public, we don't even know what you did.
Well, that's Jackie. I can respond to that. This is Larry Sachs. The closed session meeting was to discuss pending litigation involving the borough. No action was taken as a result of that. As a result of that meeting, there probably will be a further closed session. I would imagine within the next 30 days, and that's all we can really talk about at this point. So no action was taken. Discussion was only about litigation, and it involved the contract negotiations and the litigation involving the chief of police and the captain. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion to close it to the public?
Is there any? There's no one else for the public?
Yeah, I don't see any other hands raised. Wait a minute. Now Diane's on.
Oh.
So, no action was taken.
Yep.
And what's the next step?
The next step is we're going to let our labor attorney and our litigation attorney do their job. And at some point, they'll report back to us as to where they stand in terms of the status of the litigation. And at some point in the future, we'll be able to disclose once the litigation is either resolved or tried to conclusion. The borough at that point will be apprised of any particulars.
So this is regarding the lawsuits?
Yes.
Okay. Question, was B.A. McDonald involved in the closed session?
Closed session involved anybody who is a decision maker in the municipality. So that was
That
the
didn't
council.
answer my, Larry, that didn't answer my question.
Yes, she was involved in the closed session, correct.
Despite the fact that she's culpable, allegedly, in these incidents, she was involved in this closed session? You don't find that odd?
No, she's the business administrator
Exactly.
of this town, and all you're dealing with now are allegations in the nature of a lawsuit. And secondly, the discussions regarding a settlement of a contract. So no, I don't think there's any issue with respect to that. And Ms. McDonald didn't weigh in one way or the other as to any concerns or any preference as to how this matter would be handled. That was a discussion between the attorneys, and it was a discussion between council and the mayor.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Diane. Okay. Our next hand raised, Dulce. Dulce, are you there?
Dulce.
She's muted.
I don't think I
Nope.
see any more names.
She's gone.
He's gone. All right. Councilman Kramer, if someone wants to make a motion to close the public portion, we can do that now.
Make a motion to close
Make
the
a
public
motion.
portion of the meeting.
Is there a
I
second?
make a motion to close the public portion. I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, make a motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn. I hear a second.
Seconded.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Finalmente.
All right,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
Stay safe. We'll talk again soon.
Okay. Thank you, Larry. Have a good one.
All right.